It's time to get geared up with GeekWire's weekly tech and gadget show. Here are your hosts, Todd Bishop and Andrew Edwards.
Welcome to Geared Up on GeekWire. It's your source for weekly tech news and hands-on reviews of the hottest games, gadgets, and high-tech gear. I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
Hey, we got a fun show for you today. It's Unlimited Palooza.
That's right.
That's what I'm calling this one.
This show is all about unlimited data plan.
That's right, because I've had some very personal experience with this topic. And in fact, I wrote a story, I think more than 5 years ago now, about my debate over whether to switch from AT&T's unlimited plan. At the time, I was grandfathered in.
Right.
And it raised all sorts of questions about the future of data, the future of devices, how I was going to be using technology 5 years from then, which is essentially now. So we're going to use that as the lens this week to talk through what everybody else is facing now with the decision about which wireless carrier to go to and which plan to take. So,
right. I actually went through that about a month ago myself.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
So same thing as you.
Okay, good. So let's jump in. Let's set the stage.
Okay, set it up.
So about 5 or 6 years ago, I was grandfathered into AT&T's unlimited plan for 2 lines and some amount of data. Not for unlimited data, I was paying about $212 a month.
Wow.
For an unlimited data plan with an iPhone on AT&T.
Wow.
Now, of course, this was back in the day when your phone was essentially subsidized, in quotes.
Yes, it was.
And it was basically included in your bill, and you never actually paid it off, though.
Right.
It was always, and this is the thing that T-Mobile changed, where they separated the plan from the device installment payment.
Right.
So I decided at the time, and this was the subject of the story, to switch from that unlimited data plan with AT&T to an actual limited data plan. And I went with just 4 gigs of monthly data because the thing was I realized I wasn't using that much.
Wow. Okay.
So
back then when you switched away.
Yeah. That dropped my price to $175.
$175. So the industry moved away from unlimited. So the reason you were grandfathered in is because AT&T basically stopped offering unlimited plans. I actually joined AT&T in 2007 for the first iPhone. I left Verizon to
Likewise,
join AT&T.
I did exactly that.
Right, because they were an exclusive carrier of the iPhone and got the unlimited plan. They stopped offering it. So anyone who already had it could keep it. Anyone who left and wanted to come back or anyone who was new would have to sign up for a limited data plan. And so a lot of people, once they were grandfathered in, felt trapped. Like no one else is offering unlimited plans. I'm grandfathered in on one, so I'm kind of trapped in AT&T if I want unlimited data. And as time went on, AT&T actually offered less. I don't know what you want to call it. It's like less good service,
less high speed unlimited data.
Less high speed, but also, for example, if you were grandfathered in on unlimited, you could not use tethering on your devices. If you were on any other plan, tethering would work. If you were grandfathered in on unlimited, the tethering option would give you an error whenever you tried to use it. So there were things that they stopped. When FaceTime first came out, if you were unlimited, you couldn't use FaceTime if you weren't on Wi-Fi. So there were things about unlimited that kind of limited what you could do.
But the industry shifted away from unlimited plans. Now what we're seeing is a shift back to unlimited plans.
Yes.
So what I did, I switched to T-Mobile, I think back in August 2014. And this was actually not a personal decision of mine. I'll tell you why. So we were trying to get John Ledger to speak, the T-Mobile CEO, to speak at the GeekWire Summit back in 2014.
Okay.
And their people said, he's willing to do it, but you got to show him that you're serious. This is like classic T-Mobile.
What?
And so I went to the T-Mobile store. I switched from AT&T to T-Mobile, took a selfie of myself and the T-Mobile rep who sold me the phone and said, see you at the summit, John Ledger. And he showed up.
Oh, it was my one of the gosh. Best. That's totally hilarious.
But I've been on T-Mobile ever since. Here's the thing. When I switched to T-Mobile initially, I was paying for my phone that I had just bought as part of my bill. Not as part of my plan, but as part of my bill. So my bill was initially about $205 a month. Okay. So making that switch at first, basically, I was taking myself back up to where I had been in the realm of AT&T's unlimited plan cost. Now, I paid off my iPhone over time. So within a couple years, I was at $179 a month.
$179.
So,
2 lines?
Yeah, 2 lines.
2 lines.
And the whole idea was, I think we had one line that was 2 gigs and one that was 6, something in that realm. And so now T-Mobile has basically pushed the industry back to unlimited data.
Yes.
And so they've got their new T-Mobile One plan, which as a new feature has taxes and fees included in the published rates. So I just this past weekend, after getting an email from a reader, by the way, because on that AT&T story that I did originally about switching away from unlimited, I said, well, I made the right decision? Because the real debate is, are you going to need that unlimited data somewhere down the road? And are you going to have benefited from sticking around with the grandfathered plan back in 2012?
Right.
I made the decision that no, I wasn't. It was a gamble that I was going to go on a limited plan and be okay down the road.
Okay.
A reader emailed me, and she's been dealing with her own thing. She stayed on AT&T Unlimited. They throttle her after 3 gigs, is what she's saying. And basically,
do you have her email here?
I do. She said, I read your article. Now, 5 years later, do you regret giving up your grandfathered in data, or are you glad you did? She has desperately held on to hers, she says, and now they slow her down after 3 gigs, and her bill is outrageous with 3 teenagers. I don't even know if I should stay with AT&T. Advice appreciated.
Okay.
So that's what sparked this whole thing. So I went back just this past weekend, looked at my bill, and of course I'm paying a lot less than I was before. And with my data stash on T-Mobile, I usually don't go over my allotted data plan. But I was able to switch to T-Mobile One, and they are telling me, I've yet to see my bill, but they are telling me that my bill for unlimited data with 2 lines and essentially the same plan,
It's $100, right?
$159. So
Why is it $159?
So it's $120 for 2 lines on T-Mobile One. And then you add in the $20 jump insurance program. And then I actually had to add $5 more. I had to have $5 more because on the basic T-Mobile One plan, you don't get 4G tethering. You get 3G tethering. In other words, the ability to use your phone as a mobile hotspot.
You know what? You made a mistake, my friend.
What? What did I? Oh, tell me. What did I do wrong?
Well, they had a promotion I just ended.
I know.
That I actually so to back up, I've actually been on grandfathered AT&T from 2007 to 2017.
What?
10 years. Because I didn't want to give up my unlimited
for the
data.
very reason that I was saying.
Right.
Who knows how much data you're going to use down the road.
Exactly. And I know, especially when I travel. So I work from home. I'm on Wi-Fi all the time. But when I travel, I'm using my data all the time. I'm gonna go over. And as time goes on, you're only going to use more, not less. Like from 2007 versus 2017, you're going to use more data, not less.
Now, before you go on, I should say the $159 includes my $30 a month payment on my iPhone.
Okay.
So it's really $129 if you take away the device. Anyway, keep going. You were on AT&T Unlimited until just recently. And then T-Mobile puts out their unlimited plan, but it still had some limits on it, kind of like what you were just describing. And plus, I was very, very wary of T-Mobile coverage. Like, is it really, like, I didn't know. Was it going to be, like, terrible? Was it going to be okay? Depends on where you are.
I just didn't know. Right. So I was like, it feels like a gamble. But then Verizon came out with their unlimited plan. And so I'm on AT&T, grandfathered in, and I'm looking around. And then Sprint came out with their unlimited plan. And AT&T is still not offering anything. I'm like, what is happening here? So I'm paying much more money. I have a discount on AT&T, about 30% off. And my discounted rate is still higher than all 3 of the other carriers' normal rates.
No, AT&T offers unlimited, though. They offer a new unlimited plan.
So at the time, this was a couple months ago, they had, if you joined DirecTV, you could sign up for unlimited. So I'm writing in, I'm like, okay, I've been with you 10 years. Everyone else is offering unlimited. I'm grandfathered in. I can't even do tethering. I want something that's equal to any of the other ones. And they couldn't do it. So I'm like, all right, I'm leaving. I was hesitant about, should it be Verizon? Should it be T-Mobile? T-Mobile then started offering taxes included.
Yep.
So $70 flat versus the $90 that I was paying. They're offering tethering. They have their T-Mobile Tuesdays every week with free whatever, like free movies and all that. And so I decided I was going to jump in and switch over to T-Mobile. 4G tethering. So it's unlimited tethering. The first 10 gigabytes is 4G.
Right.
And then anything after that, still unlimited, but it's 3G.
So you got that during the promotional period. So you got it at no extra cost.
But I got something even better.
What'd you get?
They were also running through the end of March 20% off for life. So $70.
Oh my God.
Take 20% off of that.
Yeah,
you're down to $56. Taxes included. I was paying $90, $56. And then they had another promotion. They all stacked on top of each other, which was if you signed up with the Google Pixel, they would give you a credit of $350 spread out over 12 months. So I get another $13.50 off my bill. So now we're down to $43 a month for unlimited.
Oh man, I blew it.
It's insane.
Where were you? Where were you when I was going through
this?
You
were on vacation not watching the show that we were doing. You missed it.
All right. Hey, we're going to find out next how Andrew's T-Mobile service is going for him, because this is a big question.
Yes, it is.
You're listening to Geared Up on GeekWire, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Geared Up on GeekWire. I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
All right, we are talking this week about the nuances and the strategy of which mobile carrier you go with.
That's really what it is.
Wireless carrier, and which plan you choose.
Right, it's like playing chess.
There. Yeah, the basis for this conversation was my journey over the past 5 to 6 years.
Yes.
But Andrew's been much savvier about this than I have, it turns out. I've been able to reduce my bill to $159 from previously more than $200, basically.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that's good. Andrew's done something even more. So how much is your monthly bill going to be for, like, it's one device, is that right?
Yeah, one device. So I'm only doing one device. So the current fee for one device from T-Mobile is $70, taxes all in. But at this point, I believe they only do 3G tethering, not 4G, and they also require you, when you stream video, it's like throttled down to 480p versus the one I'm on has 1080 or full.
Right. And so I got onto your plan, but by paying $5 extra a month for T-Mobile One Plus. So $5, and that's the problem. That's what's so troubling and sometimes great about this is if you can save $5 a month, that adds up.
Yes.
And, in the case of, $30, $40 a month, that also adds up even more, obviously. So you think about it, you tend to think about it in terms of the monthly increment, but it's more interesting in terms of the yearly increment.
Overall. But if you travel a lot, though, the One Plus or even the One Plan, the One Plan gives you 1 hour free go-go Wi-Fi on planes. The One Plus gives you unlimited free Wi-Fi. And even that, like if you're going cross-country, if you were to buy that on the plane, it's like a $20 fee, or sometimes even more. So they're saving, like when I looked at that versus Verizon, I started to notice very quickly that T-Mobile would save me a lot of money in a bunch of different ways if the service lived up to the expectations that obviously like their CEO sets up, but you never know, like, is it real?
So let's talk about that in a second. But this is a good lesson to pay attention to the promotions that some of these sites, so that some of these carriers offer, because it adds up.
Yes,
it makes a big difference. And you were much smarter, and I'm actually feeling a little bit ticked off at myself right now. I didn't. Okay. So you've been on T-Mobile for how long now?
I'd say maybe it's like 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay. How's it going?
I haven't had any complaints. No complaints.
Where have you been?
I've been in Seattle. I've been in New York. I've been in, where have I been? Somewhere in California.
In a major metropolitan area?
Yes. Everywhere I've gone is a hub of a hub. I did go to a non-major city in Colorado. I forget the name. It's so small, but I haven't had any problems. I was actually surprised because I expected to go into it expecting some frustrations, but when you expect it, it's not as frustrating. But I haven't had any issues at all, which is very interesting. Now, I do use an iPhone 7 Plus, and the newer the device that you use, the more LTE bands you can access. And T-Mobile is always adding these new bands. The latest is Band 12, which can go through buildings better and can reach further. But if you don't have a phone that supports Band 12, then your T-Mobile service may be different than what I experience. And if you get, for example, the new Galaxy S8, that one will do the gigabit LTE, which the iPhone doesn't do. So again, it depends on what device you're using. If you have a more current device, you're going to experience better service than someone else might, especially with T-Mobile.
Now, when you're talking about this, are you talking about voice or data?
I'm talking about data specifically. I don't know about voice because despite the fact that we call these things phones, I don't know that I even talk on this for an hour a month.
Really?
Yeah, I'm rarely on the phone. But I mean, texting and checking the internet and I'm doing that all day. So I'm probably when it's a big travel month, I'm probably using 10 to 12 gigabytes of data during that month. So that's what I'm really the frustration for me isn't a dropped call. It's I'm trying to pull up directions or something that I need at the moment and I can't get it. And I have not experienced that yet. So I've actually been very pleasantly surprised.
2 points on that. Number one, as somebody who's been on T-Mobile for 3 years, it has gotten noticeably better.
So when you first switched, were you...
I went through a stretch. We went on a road trip through Northern California. We drove from Seattle to Northern California. And there was a point where it wasn't even CDMA. It was GRSM.
Right.
Right?
Oh, my gosh.
Ancient cellular technology that was one of the most frustrating experiences of my,
of your entire life.
I don't want to overstate it. It was not fun. It was not fun. And I can remember I was just trying to check in, check my email. Like it took so long for one email to download. It was just ridiculous.
Now, were you regretting your decision at that time?
At the time. But I mean, John Ledger, as I said, was a great speaker.
I'm sure he was.
He made that year's GeekWire Summit. So, I'm willing to take one for the team. It has gotten much, much better over the last 3 years. And when you look at what I'm doing here with my bill, I'm happy that I switched.
Right.
It's taken a while for me to reach that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I still sometimes in remote areas where I think, a good example, visiting my brother-in-law in Homestead, Florida.
Okay.
He gets great Verizon service in his neighborhood. I get no service. At least the last time we were there, I got no service. Yeah, it's within a year or so. I get no service. So you're with somebody who's on a different carrier and they're getting great service. That's the most frustrating thing.
Right. Well, even more frustrating, though, is if you and I are standing in the same spot and I have a newer phone than you and we have the same carrier and my iPhone or my Galaxy S8 is getting great service and you're getting, because you're on the 6S or 6, worse. Verizon, or rather T-Mobile, just purchased a bunch of new spectrum.
That's right.
And this new spectrum is actually going to, I think, put them on par or even surpass what Verizon currently has. It's really exhaustive, the level of spectrum that they just picked up. And so obviously new phones are going to need to be made that can, tune into those bands for that spectrum. But when it happens, they may have very well not only the best service, but the widest, most available service coming up soon.
They spent $8 billion
It's a lot of money.
Spectrum. It's called low band spectrum,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken. So very interesting. So bottom line, and it's also interesting too that T-Mobile has been adding subscribers. They just announced their earnings last week, and it was
almost 1 million.
Yeah, more than 1 million.
More than 1 million.
1.1 million additional customers. About 900,000 of those were postpaid, which are the valuable customers that pay on credit cards and afterwards, as opposed to prepaid plans where you basically stock it up in advance, which are considered less valuable to the carriers because they're not as sticky as customers are.
But as we've seen, not only did T-Mobile add all those customers, but Verizon lost and AT&T lost. So people are leaving these other carriers and flocking over to T-Mobile. It's very interesting.
Which is what John Ledger was pushing for all along. And really these network issues are the last big stumbling block. These last remaining network issues are the last major things that T-Mobile has to overcome to I think the kind of thing where we're not having this discussion about the dead spots in their coverage.
Right. So the question that was posed to you is, do you regret this? Did you make the right decision? What's your answer?
I feel great about my decision to switch away from AT&T Unlimited. I feel okay about my decision to switch to T-Mobile. I feel really stupid that I didn't take advantage of the promotions that you just brought up here. So thanks a lot, Andrew.
Yes. And my answer to that question was, I think I did the right thing by waiting. Although I was stuck on, a gimped version of Unlimited for a decade, I waited until they offered unlimited plans that were full featured rather than taking features away. And the pricing on T-Mobile, it just cannot be beat right now.
All right. Share your experiences with us. tips@geekwire.com, and we'll share them with everybody else if they're good ones.
Yeah, that's right. Share good ones.
Good experiences with your wireless plans, or bad ones.
That's true.
Good or bad experiences.
Yes,
good stories. We want good stories.
Tell us stories about your carrier.
Yeah, tips@geekwire.com. And if you want to subscribe to Geared Up, just go to geekwire.com/gearedup or search for us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, we have a special live behind-the-scenes video stream of the show whenever we record it here at the GeekWire offices every week. To do that, the best thing to do is to subscribe to Andrew's YouTube channel, youtube.com/GearLive, to see the show live and chat with us during the breaks.
Yes.
Good stuff. All right, until next time, I'm Todd Bishop.
I'm Andrew Edwards.
We'll talk to you next time on Geared Up on GeekWire.
Thanks for listening to Geared Up, the weekly tech and gadget podcast. Check out more of Andrew's reviews at youtube.com/GearLive and follow all of our coverage at geekwire.com.